Good morning, everyone. And this is Dr. Betty again with what we're calling the Dream Team. This is a group of leaders in the financial and business industry that have vast experience in really helping businesses succeed and get to a next level. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to each one of us are going to be giving you just a few minutes of an example of one specific client, what we did with that client, and then what were the results so that you all get a really good feel for the expertise in each one of our businesses. So let me start with Amanda. Amanda, why don't you share with us a little bit about yourself again, and then take us through your example?
Excellent. That was a hard question to answer. I own three businesses, and some of it's focused on business development and other on finance and investing. So I do all the things. I love to help businesses get the funding they need and automate their processes so that they can do the things that they do best that generate the most revenue. I also love to educate and empower women on investing so that they can grow their wealth and take ownership of those things and really step into their power that way. I recently had a woman in my community. I have a community focused on women educating themselves on finance and investing. She had just been laid off from her corporate position. It was a career that she had been in for a long time. It was just the natural downsizing of the company. And she had always wanted to get in real estate investing. That was where I started my journey. It's something we talk about in the group. I have a specific course for it. And she was like, okay, I don't even know where to start. So we started working through all of the different ways that she could get involved. First, she was keeping money in a regular savings account, which I told her, if you have your money in a bank savings account, you're losing money every day. So we started working on the specific strategies to build her wealth in certain small ways first, and then get into real estate investing. So certainly leveraging tools, utilizing infinite banking. We helped her establish some business credit. So that gave her a runway to get some down payment money to get an investment property. And then we worked with creative financing and specific loans that we offer to give her a clear financial roadmap to help build a rental portfolio. She was working on short-term rentals. So we were able to secure her $80,000 in a business line of credit. So that was able to get her started. And then she was banking some money in a whole life insurance policy that she was using as her escrow account, which was a huge way to build wealth for her on another side. She was able to purchase two rental properties with no money out of pocket using that business line of credit and those creative financing strategies. And the best part was she went from feeling powerless about her future, losing her job, into full control and this ability to build wealth through real estate. And it was just a huge jump for her to go from one to the other. But utilizing those strategies, building her confidence is just a huge way for her to move into the next phase of her life and start building something that was her dream.
Wow, you did a lot for her, and I can understand where our audience will have absolute need for this. So not only were you able to get her the real estate, you got her the financing, you got her to get nice and clear on where she was. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Amanda. Let me go to Ambrose next. Ambrose, if you will just, again, just remind the audience who you are and what you've done, and then just give us your situation. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the channel. Ambro Blackwell. I'm an award-winning author for Small Business Loans Made Simple. Really, I'm a cash flow strategist. I help business owners, entrepreneurs to get access to capital, help them to improve cash flow. And a lot of times I do it through education and application. And because of that, it's created a lot of different opportunities with these creative and awesome small business owners out there. One thing that comes to mind in particular is I've helped many clients, obviously, with their cash flow and access to capital, but there are sometimes scenarios where business owners are a little tight on money. one person in particular that came to mind. They were tight, their liquidity was getting tight. So we started noticing that their receivables were taking longer to come in. It was affecting how they were able to pay their own vendors and things of that nature. So we sat down, we took a look at their finances to take a look and see if there's some liquidity gaps that we could find in there. And so with that being said, what we ended up doing was taking a look and doing an inventory of what they had, and we were able to get them just a standard secured line of credit that was asset based, and it was predicated on their accounts receivables as well as their inventory. So that gave them some access to some capital right there. Then what the client ended up doing was talking to their vendors and started trying to find out who could get supply chain financing set up that would give them a little bit more of an improvement there. And then what we were able to do with this line of credit was allow them to now start reaching out and find out who would be able to take an early discount so they can go ahead and pay on one end. So what ended up happening as a result, they were able to improve their cash flow, their liquidity went up. They were able to go ahead and save some money on the other end, obviously from the ability to get discounts. Now they also were able to stretch out their payables a little bit longer. So it went from 30 days to 60 days. So now they had cushion to be able to make sure that they could pay their employees on time. And in the process, they were able to pick up 2 new contracts, which allowed them to actually take advantage of more business and continue to grow. So the liquidity actually improved dramatically with just one conversation in a few directions.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Ambrose. In this particular case, we can see where finding liquidity is so important, getting the cash flow, but doing it in a responsible way and getting someone that can actually take a look at your numbers and digest what it is that you need to go in which direction so that you can continue to grow exponentially, not a short-term fix, but a long-term fix. Thank you so much, Ambrose. And let's go with Elizabeth next. Same for you, Elizabeth. Welcome.
Thank you. So I'm Elizabeth Fuchs, and I'm with Anura Financial Services. And really what I do is I leverage 30 years of banking experience and helping larger businesses continue to expand and grow and gain additional access to capital so they can continue to expand. So I'm going to actually take what Ambrose shared with you and take it a step further. In my example, I had a client who was distributing food products. And they were an amazing marketer and entrepreneur, and they were able to find clients everywhere, including abroad. Unfortunately, he needed more working capital in order to continue to grow and expand. And he was having issues in actually collecting those receivables. So it's great to find the buyer, but it's the buyer of quality that you are actually going to get paid at the end of the day, because a sale is only as great as you collect. So what we determined is there were 2 things. One, he needed to boost up his internal credit department and really have a dedicated team that was really keeping an eye on the receivables, such that they were in constant communications with the sales team to ensure that they weren't overselling or going over credit limits established for specific account debtors, so that they wouldn't find themselves with too much credit given to an individual that was already owing them too much money and not paying on time. The other thing we did is we introduced them to the concept of credit insurance. In credit insurance, it's just a way to offload the credit underwriting and discernment of clients to another party, a third party that does that day in and day out. So by doing that, we provided this particular client access to not only discern how much credit limits to establish for their customer base, but it also allowed them to give terms, which expanded their sales even further, because it's a lot easier to say, I give you 45 days to pay versus saying, I need you to pay me in 15 days, especially if they're able to back it up with a credit insurance policy that basically takes off the risk of non-payment because that third party is taking that risk for you. So with that, we were able to enhance their liquidity. They were able to have better collections because it created discipline on their credit department. And then second, it allowed them to export. Most domestic banks do not like to lend against foreign receivables. However, if you have a credit insurance policy backing them, then it's no longer a foreign receivable. Now that bank would be underwriting to the insurance company that it's backing that paper. So that also opened up a new avenue for that particular client. So all in all, the issue was lack of collections, wanting to export without being able to gain liquidity for it. And we ended with finding a solution that did both and allowed them to grow faster.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I love what you said. A sale is only as great as you collect. So everybody, if you're a business owner, you've got to collect. Don't give away your shop. Don't give away your genius. And I love that you were able to do so much for this particular client. Thank you. And yeah, expanding is the name of the game, especially in an economy where people are not able to do. When you're able to do that for a client, you become just the miracle maker. Thank you, Elizabeth. Let's go to Kelly next. Kelly, share
So,
with us.
hi everyone. Excited to be here. I'm Kelly Gushu. I'm a financial coach and the founder of Personal Finance Warrior. I teach women how to invest and manage their money. And I have several coaching programs, and this includes private coaching. I have a group coaching program for entrepreneurs, and then I have actually a monthly membership. And my training is I was a portfolio strategist, most recently at Fidelity. So we're going to talk about investments. So my focus is on investing, and are you investing alongside your business? The number one mistake that I see in the client example I'm going to talk about is that entrepreneurs are often not investing alongside their business. So I'm going to talk about two entrepreneurs, a duo at a company, who are so focused on growing their business that they were neglecting their personal finances. And so that may resonate with a number of people out there who are so focused on running their business that there are some pain points I wanted to highlight that may delay investing. So first is that you're just busy. You're too busy and you're focused on growing your business. And you think that your business is going to be your long-term investment. So you're dedicating your energy, you may be reinvesting your resources into one main asset. And what I want to bring your attention to is I want you to think about investing alongside, and we'll talk about that. So what I also see is disorganized accounts, often cash accounts, without really a strategy for do those accounts have a return on them? Typically, once there's more organization, you can optimize them. Sometimes entrepreneurs have a fear of investing. They think that they should know. And especially with savvy entrepreneurs who feel like, I am going to learn about this and then I will master this topic and then I will invest. And that often is part of the delay. And then what my biggest concern with the delay with investing is there are ways that you can take advantage of investments for family members, including children, and especially as entrepreneurs, there are ways to do that. And so that's also something, until often entrepreneurs don't know what they don't know. And so they're leaving tens of thousands of dollars. If you are a high seven-figure business, then you're leaving hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table. So the lessons that we learned is, number one, entrepreneurs, especially with investing, they often don't know what they don't know. They figure I'll figure it out later. I'm a savvy individual. And they're not taking advantage of retirement plans for more significant tax savings. UGMA accounts for kids. This is the custodial accounts for kids. And I'll just give an example. Last year, I wanted to give my cousin a stock to invest in. So instead of a gift certificate to Amazon, what about a stock to invest in? And the child needs to have a custodial account before they can actually buy a stock. And so they didn't yet have that. And that's an example of really not knowing about these types of accounts. There's also an opportunity to open a Roth IRA for those kids. So part of your busyness with running your business is you're not aware of some of these opportunities. And this is where partnering with, whether a financial coach, where I actually work on a financial plan, a strategic financial plan, a financial planner where this is their specialty, and then financial advisors who actually work on a financial plan, but they manage the assets as well. And with a financial coach and a financial planner, we're really focused on that 10-year strategic plan. And that's why partnering with us, when you're in the weeds of your business, the idea is partnering with a specialist so that you can understand what you don't know. And just my last takeaway is that taking action pays off. So with these two clients, that in just 12 months, by optimizing different accounts, their cash accounts, their investment accounts, they earned tens of thousands of dollars. So they were leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table. And then by taking action, partnering with a specialist, they are earning and putting tens of thousands of dollars in their pocket. And over a longer period of time, hundreds of thousands of dollars. With this 10-year strategy plan, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. So for those entrepreneurs out there who are focusing on their business as their main asset, I want to bring your attention to really think about, are you investing alongside your business? And to think about a specialist who can help you understand what you don't know. Because as you're an entrepreneur, as a specialist in your business, we have financial specialists, and there are 5 of us on the team, on the dream team here, who have different specialties. And hopefully through some of these case studies, we can share what our focus areas are.
Wow, this is beautiful because you took us all the way to what's going to happen at the end of your life, and what kind of things are you leaving behind. And I love how we all just seem to round up everything. Kelly, thank you so much. So I heard investing, I heard expansion, I heard retirement, I heard managing your business, getting into really taking a really hard look at your accounts and where is your money going and how are you making your money work for you. So I love that. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about what I do. So my name is Dr. Betty. Again, I'm CEO of Effectus Enterprises. It's an 11-year-old company, and I'm a strategic business advisor, and I specialize in business expansion and turnarounds. My passion project is elevating high-performing CEOs and business leaders to unprecedented levels in their business and in their life. My biggest accomplishment, I believe, is living a life well lived and advising people how to do the same. So the client that I'm bringing up, it was a CEO of a global organization. He had multi-level management, a lot of management in the company. The company grew very quickly, and his father had just passed away when he came to me. And so there's a lot of levers here. The leadership was completely dependent on the CEO, and the CEO clearly was working too many hours and wasn't able to really focus on too much. So we took a holistic approach to his business and life. We took a look at his relationship with his wife, his relationship with his children, his relationship with his employees, and took a real holistic approach to it. We ended up changing the business model. We designed a compensation model to allow everyone in his employee base to be an intrapreneur rather than just an employee who comes in and checks how many hours and gets paid for the hours. As an intrapreneur, every employee had skin in the game. We educated everyone around the genius that everybody brings to the table and created the impossible, getting over $300,000 in unexpected cash flow that he did not expect was going to be coming into the business coming into the new year. And this is a recent client. We leveraged his current client base to expand the market share. And we also leveraged the people that actually funded some of his projects to be able to do the impossible. He said to me, this company has never been able to do this. And I said, I live in the impossible. Let's try it. Let me just tell you what you need to do to negotiate this. We helped him negotiate something that would have been impossible, that he had no idea that was that he had access to. So again, we created entrepreneurs, we created a culture of teamwork and collaboration. Now we're working on finding a CEO replacement for himself. He's not working as many hours because the whole model went a lot flatter. People are no longer expecting him to do everything for them, but every individual is really owning their place. And his home life is much better as well. So those are some of the examples of some of the clients that all of us have taken a look at and what we've all been able to do for the client. So from this group, the list that I see that everyone can do for you is cash flow management. We heard if you have problems with cash flow management, access to capital, expansion of business, so you're expanding your business. If you need some strategy for your business, if you need some financial advising, the 10-year strategic plan, investing, how do you invest? How do you plan for retirement? Did you know that 95% of business owners do not have a plan for when they retire, whether they're going to be putting their children into the business or what it is that they're going to do? That means that five people, 5% out of 100 people, that's 5%, only have a plan. That means that every single person that is watching here, most of you will not even have a plan. So that's really important, because if you need the strategy, this team is, you can see why we formed this dream team together. And if you have any questions, you can go into LinkedIn for each of us and just reach out. And if we are not the best person for what you need, we will reach out to each one of us to make sure that you get the very best person. But for all of us and from all of us, thank you so much for being with us. It's just such a pleasure. We'll be back next week. Thank you all so much.